Welcome, busy gamers. Today we're going to be talking about Golfie. What's good, what's bad, and that all-important question, is it worth your time? Now, if you've joined me for another worth your time video in the past, feel free to go ahead and skip straight to the section you're most interested in, and if not, we're going to head straight into the overview. Golfie was developed by Triheart Studios, and it was published by Yogscast Games. It entered early access in May of 2022, and it moved to a full release 8 months later in January of 2023. Golfie aims to blend mini-golf and card or deck building mechanics together all into a roguelike package. It's been described by one of the Yogscast members as, "It's Slay the Spire meets golf with your friends." In Golfie, you typically draw 3 cards a turn. You utilize them to modify how the ball travels once it's been hit. They range from standard upgrades such as increased power, lob shots, and curved shots to the truly unique and impressive, such as the addition of a jetpack to your ball, or modifications to the course itself, such as adding springboards to the ground or backplates that you can bounce off of. These cards are going to be used to traverse randomly generated holes from 4 unique types: the beach, windmill areas, Sakura Blossom or Japanese type area, or dungeons. Now these holes have pre-built assets that can be chained together randomly to create the final hole. As you attempt to complete a given hole, you're also going to be tempted by coins, which are used to purchase new cards and powers. You're going to be tempted by crystals as well. These give cards and or powers directly, and shops that look like old snack-style vending machines. Each round you play will grant you experience based on how far you got and the score that you received. The experience will then unlock new cosmetic alterations for your golf ball, new powers that you can select during a run, and daily challenge game modes. At the time of this review, I've played Golfie for about 8 hours on PC. I've done several of the daily challenges, as well as tested the multiplayer with a friend. So, what's good about Golfie? The multiplayer is good, casual, fun. I had a friend download this one to play with me and to test the multiplayer system. We really enjoyed ourselves. The game didn't lag or stutter, and it performed pretty well. The chaotic nature of the card draws and the abilities really lent themselves well to competing versus another player directly, especially a friend that you can kind of chat with, hang out with, and really enjoy yourself during the process. If someone gets ahead, there's a lot more incentive for crazy plays so that they can either catch up or gain the edge than there is in a solo play game where care or patience are primarily the name of the game. I also thought the card effects honestly could be pretty interesting and cool. I say they can be here because most of the card upgrades honestly just feel situational. Being able to do things like put a parachute on your golf ball at will is fun, and it can create some really interesting moments as you swing for the fences trying to get a high score or a hole-in-one on a hole. Now, daily challenges are also pretty excellent here. It removes a little bit of the randomness in generating different holes that people are going to experience, or card draws, things of that nature. And it makes it a bit more of a level competition where everyone is adapting to the same environment, situation, and themes. Under these items, I kind of found that I really enjoyed the game a lot more and a little bit more competitively. This mode does take a little bit of time to unlock though. You need to be level 10, so you're going to have several casual rounds under your belt before it's available. So what's bad about Golfie? The course design and the randomness. The course design in Golfie is random, with assets from a predetermined pool selected and smashed together to create a hole. While having some randomness is of course a good thing in a game like this, as it increases replayability, in this instance it makes for incredibly inconsistent difficulty levels, super awkward and undesirable pathing for upgrades, and even then the variety just isn't that high. Many levels from the same type just look and feel the same when playing them regardless of how they're put together. Even in my 8 hours of time with the game, it feels like I've played the exact same hole multiple times, even though I am certain there were slight variations on it each time. The other downside to the random build is that it takes a lot away from the typical mini golf experience, where you're kind of finding a secret or a shortcut or a hidden thing that allows you to do something better. Or it's saying, this type of hole, windmills for example, require you to have a lot of finesse and accuracy because you're going to need to be getting in between the windmill and something else. These holes don't specifically test you on anything. They don't have a purpose or a goal for it. They're just random, and sometimes they absolutely feel that way. Getting cards is often also just not that helpful, so going out of your way to hit a blue crystal to get a new card, it doesn't feel good most of the time. In a deck builder, you should look forward to getting cards, and you should be able to identify types and styles of cards that fit your playstyle and really hone into something. However, in Golfie, many of the card upgrades or unlocks will actually make your deck worse when they're drawn outside of very specific situations. So while interesting, many of them just weren't that useful or unique to begin with. In addition, you only draw 3 cards per turn. There's no way to retain cards to your hand, meaning there are very few true synergies in the game, and getting them into your hand at the same time is really just up to random chance. My easiest runs were honestly those where I took little to no upgrades, and even then I only took those that enhanced things that were basic type powers. Getting out farther, having a little bit more control. Finally, for a game that is now fully released out of early access, it has a fair number of bugs, and it just lacks polish. Multiple times when I was playing, I would lose a ball off the side of a platform, only for my ball to then respawn on the edge of that platform over and over and over again, immediately falling off and taking away another energy or life. From the polish perspective, it's a deck builder with no ability to remove a card once you've selected it. If I want to see how a card will modify my shot trajectory, I just have to guess unless I want to be stuck with officially playing that card. Poor tutorials and a lack of clarity of information is also an issue here. When I was testing out the game, I couldn't identify what exactly the battery above was, or the 5 dots below my card selection. I eventually figured that out, of course. It's a life and energy meter, and a limit to the number of heat that you can add to your ball, but it was never explained that you could not exceed a heat of 5, or that if you did, you would lose a life, meaning in many games, if there is a restriction, it has a hard cap or it gives you a warning that something bad is about to happen to you. It never did that to me, so it actually caused me to initially take damage and see my ball jump around without ever really understanding why. I thought it was a bug, I thought it was a glitch, I just didn't notice. Also, the guiding path or the line was also pretty inconsistently useful, with a very short length of where it was actually correct. And the flags in the holes were extraordinarily small, to the point that they were often invisible, especially if the flag itself was pointing away from you. So we'll move on to the ephemeral efficiencies here. This is our channel focus, and we want to talk about how Golfie treats your time. The game is relatively quick, and it does automatically save your process within a given run if you're playing solo, so you can come back to it at any given time. The areas I enjoy of the game the most, though, are multiplayer and the daily challenges, and so those will either be gated by scheduling with a friend or investing time to unlock the mode. There are matchmaking components you could play with random people, that's just not personally for me, and again, it would take time. You'd be beholden to waiting on your other player to take their turn. Because of this, and because you're going to have to invest time to unlock these modes, I don't think Golfie really does anything to be respectful of your time. There's just not a lot here to grade. Let's move on to the final scores here. The overall score for this game is going to sit at a 4. For me, this game swings at being way too many things. Mini golf, deck builder, and roguelike. The concept is an amazing one, but right now, the implementation unfortunately makes it miss on all 3. From the actual act of deck building having little impact to generic and nonsensical mini golf holes and long-term upgrades that don't really matter outside of cosmetics, this game is one that should have remained in the early access or beta phase. Maybe the developers will get something together long term, and this can really be polished up, but for now, it's not a game I recommend. On the Ephemeral Efficiency score, we're going to go ahead and give it a 6. It works, it'll play quickly, but there's not enough meat on the bones to give it an in-depth or proper rating here, so I felt like it was unfair to punish it just because the game was unpolished. I don't see how this game will really do a lot here, but it will remain quick likely, and so I think a 6 is fair. Alright, that is my review of Golfie. If you liked what you saw here today, you have any feedback for me, please go ahead and consider giving me a like, a subscription, or a comment with some feedback. Other than that, until my next video, enjoy gaming.